Hello, we have this week PARSHAS ki SAVO and two really practical ideas I just wanted to share from this week's Parsha. The first one is the Parsha begins with this idea of bikurim, of the farmers bringing their first fruit to the temple, the first fruits that grow from their land. And what is so interesting about this? So in Judaism, we have this emphasis on the first, right? Like we say Havdalah at the end of the week to signify a new week is starting. We say when we wake up in the morning, Moda Ani, this emphasis of like, I am grateful, but we can't even start with Ani, which would be proper grammar. We invert it because we say Moda first, grateful am I, because it's so important. What do we say first? What do we do first? So it's the first beginning of the day, the beginning of the week, we start with Havdalah. The beginning of the month, we have this idea of Rosh Chodesh. Every month we begin a new energy, new potential. And so too, Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the year, which is coming up. Why is the beginning so important? Because the beginning really sets a tone for everything else to follow. They say everything follows from the head. So too, if you think about in our bodies, when our brain decides to do something, that causes the rest of our body to do it. And it's so important, and it's actually such a gift that we have this power to invest into the beginning of anything, of the school year, which I just had thankfully this week, and anything in our lives, we invest in the beginning and the rest will follow suit. And we see this actually in the second verse. It says, that we should take from the beginning, kol pri ha'adamah, that we should take from every fruit of the land. And one interpretation of this is that yes, we take from the beginning and it affects kol. It affects everything. And this extra word kol is there. Why? Because the first really has an effect on everything else. Okay, so with that, I'm thinking towards, right? What's buzzing in your head? What is coming up is Rosh Hashanah. And it's really an opportunity that we have. I think it's so cool that the Parsha prepares us in this idea for Rosh Hashanah is coming. We have this opportunity. The new year is in just a couple weeks. Let's think about it. What are you going to do for the new year? Are you going to join us at the Jewish Experience? Are you going to put effort into it? Are you going to think about what you want your new year to be like, what you want to improve in this year? It's really an opportunity that we have, and it's a gift that there is power in the first. Okay, one other idea is this whole bikurim, right? So the first paragraph is the Jews were commanded to bring the fruit to the temple. But then the climax, we get to what do we do when we get there? So we actually say, tell me if this sounds familiar, an Armenian tried to destroy my forefather. He ascended to Egypt and sojourned there, few in number, and there he became a nation great, strong, and numerous. Where have you heard these words before? Yes, these are words from the Seder, the Pesach Seder that we say every year. We talk about how, if you read from the Haggadah, the nation went down to Egypt and they became great there. Okay, so why do we say this here? And why in this week's Parsha? And what does it have to do with Bikurim? So if you think about it, we went down to Egypt and there we became great, strong, and numerous. Okay, but this word great, first of all, it uses the word great, and the Hebrew is gadol. So, and it also says numerous. So the word gadol cannot also be referring to numerous. What does gadol mean? Gadol means big. It could be big in number, in quantity, but it could also be big in quality. So here it's saying the first thing we do when we bring our first fruits is we say, our nation went down to Egypt and there we became great. We achieved greatness. How did we become great? And it's actually an interesting thing. It was because we were in Egypt, in the depths of the slavery and the hardships of Egypt, specifically because we lived in crisis and we went through that. That is what caused the Jewish people. That is how we became great. Because sometimes when we go through challenges, it forces us to dig deeper and discover the power and the strength that we didn't know that we had. And that's where a growth spurt occurs. That's where we go from potential into reality. And it's often in the hard times and in the crisis. but we have to look for it. We have to look for the opportunities to grow and to become better from it, see the blessing in it. And so here we have this opportunity. Going into the new year, we can set the beginning. We can set the tone how we want to. And in this new year, we can also, just like when we went down into Egypt and become great, no, we're not asking for hardships in this year, but we're asking for greatness. Why? Because we know that just like we go down to, we give our bikurim, our first fruits, and say, this is how our nation become great. It's a reminder for each and every one of us that as we start anew, you have greatness within you, tremendous greatness. And there's so many other things in the Parsha we could go into, but we're not going to, about living with joy and finding the greatness in what you do, and that it should fill you up and bring out that goodness in you. And may we all find that within ourselves, find those opportunities and use them. Start the new year off fresh and use that opportunity to become great. Have a great Shabbos.